What's going on, everybody? Welcome to today's video. I'm actually pretty pumped about this. I think that the speedster top is coming along like really well. I'm really liking like the shape and like the overall, I guess, flow of it. That was like pretty important to me. I want it to look like it's meant to be on the car, not like I took it off of whatever, a Mustang or a Miata or something. So I'm really liking how it's going. I think it's gonna make a huge difference in like the overall like appearance of the car. I know a lot of people don't really like these cars just because of how they look compared to like the base, whatever, the coupe S15. So I'm really hoping that this will like add to it and kind of make it look like it makes more sense, kind of. I don't know. Anyways, so in the last video, I ended it. I think I basically had both of the humps kind of shaped and they were just like sitting there. I'm gonna get into this video. I'm gonna start by gluing them together, like gluing all the pieces together, making one block, and then I'm gonna start shaping those into basically like the final form, like the final shape, because I think that like the overall like dimensions of it, like the size and how it looks, it's pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm just gonna start now rounding off like the edges and starting to position them where I want and make sure everything is like lining up on the base. Yeah, anyways, I'm super pumped. Hopefully you guys are enjoying this. Kind of cool stuff. So but yeah, I'm just gonna get into it now. Now that I got the shapes basically what I want, I got the humps duplicated too with that other one. Now I'm gonna use this stuff. It says it's for foam insulation, so it should be good. So basically what I'm gonna do is I think I'm gonna do it like upside down, because this is like basically the biggest and then it gets smaller as it goes. So I'm just gonna put a little bit basically over here. I'm gonna try and stay away from the edges because I still have to like sand it and shape it back a little bit to shape it more. And I'm sure this stuff gets hard and it won't be easy to sand like the foam is. So I'm gonna try and keep it like inside a few inches, so that way I'm not, you know, having to deal with it when I start sanding all this stuff. So yeah, I'm just gonna do one layer, slap the other one on, put more on, slap the other one on, and then I'll probably tape it all together or something. And it says to leave it for 24 hours, so. Okay, so it's the next day. They're all glued together now, so they're one piece. So what that means is basically I can start sanding the edges, making everything like really uniform, because like you can see it's not perfect right now. And then I can round this top edge off. We're not gonna have this edge here. It's gonna be like round. You're gonna see the shape, but you're not gonna see this line. I don't wanna see the line, I don't think anyways. Yeah, I'm not exactly sure how to even like attack this, how to start, but I'll figure it out, I guess. Okay, so I just sanded this real quick. You can see it's like even now, right? Like it's nice and flat. And then I even like flattened out the front so it's nice and straight. So I was looking at it, this angle and this angle are totally different. So I like this one because it's got like a roundness to it. It's not just a perfect like straight line like this one. So what I did was I traced it out on the paper, right? And then just cut it out. And we can see that is that, right? So now you just flip it over, put it on this side, and you can see when it's even with the top and flat on the bottom, we got to trim off, so sand off that much, which isn't terrible. But then at least it'll be the same shape on both sides. So I'll do that, and then I'll just keep this template and I'll make the other one the exact same. And obviously like I'll have to keep doing this with other templates as I go further with the sanding. I'm just trying to get it to the same rough shape, and then I'll start rounding this top part in, which I don't think it'll be too big of a deal. So I'll get that shaved off and then start up here. Alrighty, so I'm done shaping them. They're exactly, well, I wouldn't say exactly, but like this shape is exactly the same as that one because I put them like nose to nose, and it's the exact same. So everything measures out that it's identical, but I'm sure it's not, just because it's handmade. So so now what I've done, I basically measured from here to this molding, because that had to be the same on both sides. And then this corner, you can't really see it because of the tape, but this corner of the trunk measured from here just straight to wherever that is. And it's 9 1/4 here and 6 inches here, same on that side. And then I measure from the center here to wherever it meets up with it at the trunk, and it's 7. That's the only one that's a little bit different. It's like 7 inches here and like 7 1/8, but you'll never notice that, especially by the time I fill this with like spray foam. You're not gonna notice like how perfectly like placed and everything they are after that anyway. Right now I'm gonna just take these off. I marked, like I traced all the way around them so I can put them back perfectly in the spot when I get the glue on it. And yeah, I'll just do that now. There we go, I got them all glued on. I did like underneath, and then I just went around and just sealed this up, just, I don't know, just give it a little more strength, I guess. Because it's not gonna matter, I'm gonna end up doing spray foam all around here anyway, but just so they're nice and sturdy. So I'll let that sit overnight and go buy some spray foam tomorrow, I guess, and start messing with that now. I love like this angle right here, where it's just a continuation of the trunk pretty much, and it's not sticking up like crazy. I love this so much. Like right here, it looks massive, but as soon as you go like this, it's like, oh. It's like, I think it's the perfect size, I don't know. I guess we'll see once it's all in the car and way down the road when it's all done. Now it's the next day, they're dry, everything's good. I just cut pieces for in here just to fill in this big gap on both sides, you can see. And now, as you can see, I've got plastic over that. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna spray foam all around here, so that way when it dries, I can sand it and get a nice transition instead of like this hard line. It'll have a nice little roll to it. And then I'm also gonna spray foam like all in here, up here, and then all along this back, because I want this to be filled in right up to that black piece that I put back in and we decided that needed to be there. So now I have to fill that little void in, which isn't a big deal. And hopefully like this will dry nicely. And then tomorrow I can start like shaping it, getting a little bit further. So it's the next day. You can see expanded quite a bit. It's all nice and rock solid, so I don't think there'll be any soft spots in there. Sometimes you put this stuff too thick, it won't dry on the bottom and it'll be this wet, goopy mess. So what I'm gonna do right now is just grind off the top layer. So I might even cut it with a knife first just to get the big stuff gone, and then grind around here. And just make sure there's no big, huge air pockets. And if there is, then I'll just fill them again and then kind of repeat the process. Do the same thing tomorrow. So I just ground down all the spray foam. I didn't film any of it because it's just whatever, just grinding. It honestly didn't work that great. Not like I thought it was going to. This isn't too bad around here, but this, I think because it was too big of a gap, so it's all like air pockets, so it didn't really even fill half of it. But whatever, these stuck, so that's good. So what I did was I went and cut this, put a little bit of shape to it, like a little bit of a roundness to it. You can tell or not. Same with up in there. Now I'm just debating on what to do in here. I feel like it should have some sort of like a semicircle or like cutout kind of. You can see I kind of marked like roughly on the outside of the headrest on like either side. And I was thinking about making that like a border kind of around it and then like digging that in a little ways so there's like a little bit of shape to it instead of just being perfectly flat. But I'm not too sure. Also, I rounded off all these edges and stuff. But basically, it's pretty much ready to start like bodyworking it and like filling it. And so what I have is just some like drywall stuff. I actually bought this when I did the garage, and I did like, you can't see it, but I did that back wall and then I just gave up. So I have like a whole tub. And yeah, it's not gonna actually be what I make this out of, obviously, but I'm just gonna use it as like a body filler, basically. It's way cheaper than body filler. Basically bodywork this whole thing, I think. And then what I'm gonna do is then either tape over it or just lay some like plastic all over it, and then I'll lay the fiberglass mat and resin stuff over that, and then this will just pop right out. basically this will be like the mold, and then we'll have like the actual piece. Then we can bodywork, final bodywork that. And hopefully there won't be a whole bunch of bodywork because I don't want it to be super heavy either. So I'm gonna try and get it like 90% of the way there, or maybe 80% of the way there with this, and then do the fiberglassing over top of that. And yeah, that's my plan. So I think this is what I'm gonna go with. Like I said before, I kind of like traced out the headrest around it on there, but it looked kind of goofy because it was like 3 inches away and then like tight up here, and like the headrest sticks over top anyways. So I just went 1 inch all the way around it. And then my plan is to kind of like dig that out, like maybe 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch, just so it's not completely flat. There'll be like a little bit of a kind of dip in there. Not really for more room, but just so it doesn't look like flat, right? Because it's easy to make something flat, but it'll kind of look like it's more manufactured, I think, if it has like an added kind of element or whatever to it. So I'm just gonna throw it in the car and kind of look at it from the front and whatever, and see if I like the shape. I got it on there. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think I like it. And also, I guess it actually will gain a bit of space too, because I don't know if you can see it on video, but the headrest kind of goes like this. So if I take out like 3/4 of an inch in there, there'll be even like a lot more space to be able to go back. So that'd be cool. So hard to judge all this stuff, but I think that'll be pretty cool. So I'm gonna do that, and hopefully I like it, because there's pretty much no going back from that. So I've got one shaved out. I put it on the car. It looks really good. I actually really like it. The only thing I'm a little bit worried about is when I go to put the fiberglass on, it's probably not gonna really wanna wrap around and get into that super tight corner. So when I do this one, I think I'm just gonna like, you know, make it on like a radius type thing. So it's not this sharp line, and it'll just be kind of like rolled around into this area. So it's not a huge deal. I mean, I think I can just fill this back in, you know what I mean? Just like on an angle out to the flat. And I think that would be better, because you probably end up getting a whole bunch of air pockets and stuff around there. It's already gonna be super hard to wrap it all the way around this like 90-degree angle and then in. So I think I'm gonna have to do that. This is also adding a bunch of extra like bodywork to this, but I think it needed it because it looks kind of boring just flat like that. I don't know, I like it. Okay, so I did the other one. I tried to do it like I said, like on an angle, but it wasn't working. So I'm probably gonna have to do that with like the filler or whatever. Yeah, you can see this side's done, that side's done. I think it looks pretty cool. It's definitely did something. So now I think what I'm gonna do is, it's pretty late, so I'm just gonna put one coat, I think, on here, because I don't want it to be like super thick and never dry. So I'm gonna take this off, flip the plastic back over here, then put this down, and then tape it in place where I want it. And then I'm gonna put a coat, I think, like back here of the filler, and then let it sit overnight, and hopefully it'll dry overnight. Well, it's the next day. It's still super wet, because I'm a little bit of an idiot and I didn't even listen to my own advice, and I just caked it on there like all that I needed in one coat, which is not ideal for this stuff. So I don't know what I'm gonna do. I'll just let it sit for the whole weekend and hope that it dries, because it's so wet still. I'm not sure if I filmed it, but I ended up doing all this, like skimming this much. So now I'm starting to sand it. So basically I'm shaping like this kind of roll here now, and yeah, that's looking pretty good. I mean, it's gonna kind of just blend into that molding, and then here, like, this is more gradual now. So I think this is all the filling I'm gonna do. I mean, I know I'm still gonna have to do a bunch of body work after I've actually made the part like out of fiberglass, so I'm not gonna get super serious with this. Just basically get the general shape, that way I don't have a ton of filler on the part and it's gonna be heavy and want to crack and stuff like that. But yeah, so now I'm just basically trying to make kind of like this shape and look the same on both sides, which is actually becoming quite difficult. Then I'll just block all this out, get rid of all the lines and stuff from the spreader, and then basically just go real quick around here and smooth this out. And then I think I can start basically like taping it all up. Taping it to the car. Like I said, I'm gonna open the trunk all the way up. Once I get it where I want it and I get my gap good, you can't really see because the tape, but once the gap's good and it's flush here and good here, then I can basically tape it to the car and then packing tape the whole thing. Then I'll open the trunk and then I'll packing tape right over this, and then it'll go down in there, and then we'll have a nice edge, and we'll just use that basically as the mold, and it'll have like the perfect shape, and that should be cool. I've got it pretty much taped in place, like where I think it's gonna go, and I'm pretty happy like with the gaps and stuff. I mean, it's not perfect, but I can fine tune that later. But like this flows nicely into like the side of the car and stuff. So now what I'm gonna do is try and open up the trunk and make sure it doesn't hit or anything, because it comes ahead a little bit and then goes up. So I'm hoping that's enough of a gap, because it's a pretty big gap. Like I almost put my finger in it, and I don't really want to make it bigger than that because that's gonna look not great. So we'll do that. Then I think I'm gonna take the seats out of the car and then start like covering everything with plastic and covering this thing with the packing tape, and basically getting ready to do the fiberglass. So I did open the trunk. It took forever to charge battery and then whatever. So I messed around with it a little bit. I got it put where it doesn't hit the trunk now. So that's good, because it was actually touching. Now I'm basically just figuring out what I'm gonna need, like material wise. This is basically all the fiberglass I have left. I have to get some more of that and more resin. I'm just gonna end the video right there. The main thing to take from this video is that fully shaped now. That's exactly like how it's gonna be. And all I gotta do now is basically wrap it up with the packing tape and then do the fiberglass, like cover the car, whatever, and then lay the fiberglass and the resin. In the next video, we should actually be able to see the fiberglass shell of this part. I'm not sure if I explained it like super well, but all that pink foam and then the white like drywall mud is not staying like on the car. Like the whole idea of that is just to build a shape. You can build it out of anything. Like it does not matter as long as you can build with it and make a shape. So yeah, all of that stuff is gonna get, hopefully it'll pop right out once I put like the packing tape on it. Ideally it'll just pop out, but probably I'll have to like dig it out and like not grind it out, but like just rip it out. And then I'll be just left with a fiberglass shell of the shape that I built. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video there. So if you're enjoying like the progress and stuff, that's pretty cool. I appreciate you guys watching as always. Let me know what you think, your thoughts on this. Once it's done, then we'll be able to like really tell what it looks like, obviously, but I think we're headed in a pretty good direction, and I'm super happy with it. So, I'll see you in the next one.